So basically in this video I wanted to talk about introduction to fire science, and basically we're going to go over basic combustion but go into a little depth with it. Normally in chemistry classes you'll learn a little bit more about combustion as well, as shown by fuel plus oxidizer yields products plus heat. That's basically what you learn about combustion, as in fuel as in a sort of hydrocarbon like ethanol plus oxidizer, aka oxygen, yields products, which is you get your CO2 and H2O out of it, and then you get heat, which means it's an exothermic reaction. Heat is being released. It's a basic form of energy. This is a general and very good type of study for those of you who are pyromaniacs and enjoy using fire in chemistry, any of this sort, into fire protection, firefighter, fire officer, whatever you want to be with fire is good for you to go into. And like I said, general chemistry classes cover most of it. The fire science goes more in depth with the actual terms and different types and classifications. Like we have over here flaming combustion, and flaming combustion is with the liquid and gas phase. And then we have a word next to it called pyrolysis. Pyrolysis refers to the decomposition of a compound by heat. So anything that's decomposed by heat, then you will have pyrolysis. That's what the term regards to. And the flaming combustion is the most basic type of combustion that you'll see. It's as if you poured ethanol on a table and then you set it aflame. That's basically what you're doing. It's the flaming. Then the smoldering on the right side over here is a solid phase, and that's basically how you see like cigar embers, like, and cigarette embers, all that coming out of that on the other side of the cigarette is smoldering. And then we have it can be classified as premixed or diffusion. This is another level of classification. So like premixed, I'll write down here, premixed. And premixed is very general and very straightforward. It just means beforehand, like before you do the combustion, you have it mixed together. The fuel and the oxidizer are mixed in some sort of solution or some sort of substance that eventually, when it combusts together. It's a good example is the Bunsen burners. They have the gas that's already pre-mixed that you release and it burns. We also have diffusion, and diffusion's a little more tricky. You might think, well, a diffusion flame is a flame that goes everywhere. Well, that's not the case of diffusion right now. The diffusion is when you have a reaction zone and it occurs at the surface of the reaction zone, but they're separate fuel and oxidizers. So it's as if you put, they're not together, they're not mixed. You place ethanol first, set it aflame, that is your diffusion. Whereas premixed would be already mixed, the gas in the Bunsen burner. And then we also have, I wanted to describe a candle flame. Candle flames are very unique. Very good example. The candle flame. Now, the candle flame has a special classification. It's an example of a laminar diffusion flame. And a laminar diffusion flame is basically a smooth sort of flame that from a candle flame you can see the smoothness. It's not flickering. It's more of a general directed flame, and it's mostly unchanging in shape. As opposed to a bonfire. A bonfire has flickering everywhere and can generally change shape. So a bonfire would be what they would call turbulent sort of diffusion flame. So then we also have the premix and what I said before, the premix and diffusion, they don't always have to occur at a separate time. You can have a premixed flame and then become a diffusion flame at a different moment, which will contradict the definition, but it's an interesting example that a fire with a flammable liquid can make a premixed mixture with air. So it's mixing with air. So the flammable liquid is mixing with air, and that's the premixed stage, and then it's diffused from there when it rises above the liquid pool, as in it separates. So that's basically what can happen at the same time, just to give you a sense of awareness that it's not only going to be classified as premixed and then diffusion or one or the other, it can be a mix of both. Generally, this is the beginning of combustion in fire science, and there's not much to go over with it. However, I will write the classifications of candle flame and the bonfire that I was meaning to do. So this one was Laminar, and the bonfire was turbulent. And that is basically it for combustion, for the introduction of fire science. If you have any questions or comments, just ask.